Hello Interverse. Hello YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, Steemit, Whale Shares, wherever you are. Hello. Crypto G here, coming at you with another video tutorial. Today we are going to look at basic editing. I've sort of been showing you the Lightworks program, but maybe that's a bit daunting if you've never ever used an editing program, or you've used something similar, simple like iMovies or Windows Movie Player. Okay, so when you go to the Lightworks website, which I believe is ltwks.com, I'll leave the link below. You are prompted to download. I won't show you that. You guys know how to download programs. Once you do, it's all automatically set up, and you'll have this window without, of course, these projects that I have been doing. Come here, create new project, name it. We're going to call this basic editing, or in fact we'll call this introduction to editing. I like to use underscores. You can use spaces. We're going to choose a frame rate of 24 frames per second, and we'll talk about why in a bit. And then we are in our project. Now we use this to view our files on our computer, which is why it's called local files. I am going to be in the right place, but you can either sort of click on places or use this to find where your folders are on your computer. Okay, so I'm going to go back to there, and these, as you can see, these are all different frame rates, and we'll talk about frame rates in a second. 25 right through to 30, and that's why I chose 24, because I knew I had mixed footage and I want to be able to bring them all in. If I'd chosen 30, then my 25 frames per second I wouldn't, and this 23.98 I wouldn't be able to bring into the project. Okay, so we can have a look here at our clips. You know, have a look at what they are. We can scroll backwards and forwards through them. But I'm just going to bring all of these in. So the first one here, I'm just going to double click on it, and we can see it says imported, and it comes up in the viewer. This is the clip viewer, even though it's going to look the same as our timeline viewer. This is the clip viewer. Okay, so we'll just double click on these. Okay, you're back with me now, and as you can see, I've just imported all of these, but we're still on this local files tab. So all I'm doing is looking at a folder in my computer, and these files are on my folder. Even though they've been imported, to see them, I need to go to Edit, and here we go. So here are where all my clips are kept. And we here see master clips, so we can go clips. I haven't made any sub clips yet. Sequences, everything recent. Okay, so I suggest, especially if you've got a lot of footage, you know, if you haven't, then you can kind of just leave it in this master clip. But if you've got a lot of footage, create a bin, and a bin is just what it sounds. It's a container to hold your projects. To hold your clips rather. You can rename it. I'm not going to. I'll go back to my clips, and I can show you. You can put the clips in there simply by dragging. You'll see the blue highlight around there dropping. Let's go back to clips. The clip stays there though. These are the master clips, and we'll move that. So I'm going to move all of these in here, and I'll be back in a sec. Okay, you're back with me now, and I've moved all of the clips from this bin, from my master kind of area, if you like, the master bin, and I've moved them down to what I've called bin 1, and we can see them there. And let's just scroll down. You can see them all there. Okay, so now we have got them into a project and a bin, let's talk about the timeline. I'm going to just bring one of these down. I'm just going to simply hold down left click and drag it down. And we can see the timeline has 1 track of video and 4 tracks of audio, which is pretty standard. This clip, funnily enough, if I sort of scrub that through, usually you have to kind of hit play first. Let me just play. Yeah, this clip hasn't actually got any audio on, and even though the audio tracks are there, if it did have audio, you would see a sound wave there. So this audio isn't actually there. We can turn these off by clicking there, or we can just delete them straight away altogether by turning off the video, right clicking on the audio tracks and going remove or delete. I'm going to go remove. Same difference. Okay, so how we play, this is our timeline viewer, and this represents what your viewers will see when you export your video. We have the time here, which is measured in hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. Okay, so as we can see, we've got 24 individual pictures or frames in 1 second. So we go 23 and bang, we're on 1 second. Okay, so as you've just seen, these will nudge us forwards or back by 1 frame. This will nudge us back to our previous cue, cut, cue, or mark. So because we've just got 1 clip in here with no cuts, doing this will take us to either to the end or to the beginning. I'm just going to close this gap here because otherwise what happens, I'll just show you, the clip finishes and it'll just keep going. Okay, so we don't want that. We want to right click and close the gap. There we go. Now we have the clip all in the timeline. We can zoom in and out, so I can make it bigger or I can make it smaller, and that's the smallest it goes. So back to the timeline viewer, we've got in and out points here, and so I can create an in point here and I can create an out point there, and I use these for where the video is actually going to play from. So at the end I might sort of click out, and when I'm exporting it, which you do by this, right click, export, go on to H.264, or you can actually hook up straight to your YouTube or Vimeo, and it'll ask me various questions when I get through there if I want to go from the in points or the out points. I'm going to get rid of these. These are called markers. The reason why these are different from in and out points is in and out points you can only ever have 1 in and 1 out point on any given sequence, whereas markers you can have as many as you like. Markers are quite handy because let's say you've got some music and you've got that music is 4/4 timing, so you might play the clip, go 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. So now we've got 4 markers there which are in sync with our music. So we might want to make cuts, we might want to cut to another sequence, we might want to add an effect, but whatever it is. Now if you click on the actual markers, I can call these I can say music, and so I know that all of my green markers are my music markers. However, maybe I've got some footage where I've filmed an interview with 2 cameras and I want to just mark the best places where to cut from one camera to the other. So in that case I would choose marker, maybe choose a different color. Let's go for yellow, and I actually changed that one that I just added, and there again you see I can play and I can just hit mark. Oh no, that shouldn't have done that, sorry. There we go, hit mark, and now I can have different colored markers. Okay, Unfortunately, it always defaults back to the green, which is a shame. So you've got to kind of do them one at a time. So I would always use the green markers for music because they're just the default. Okay. Now coming on to this next one, we've got remove the mark section and replace with black. Delete the mark section and close the gap. So again, you can use these, but there we go, you see. Yeah, sorry about that, folks. I was just working out how to use this button here, delete the marked section, and of course that's only when you use the in and out. So we can use this when just for normal markers, as you saw, but for actual in-out marks, this one we'll use. So I can mark 2 bits and I can go like that, and it'll just get rid of that section, and it'll leave, as you can see, a little cut point there. Okay, that brings us quite nicely on to the nature of editing. So, you know, I've done all of these cuts and what have you, you know, by using the mark and using these. However, maybe I'm like, oh, I've kind of got rid of too much at the beginning here. So what can I do? I can just simply roll it back out. And now suddenly we've got the whole clip again. Okay. So editing is non-destructive. That's the beauty with editing. I mean, I can get rid of this here, right click, remove. I can grab, as you can see, just mouse over there, hit left click, and just pull it all the way on and just keep pulling it, and now suddenly I've got all of the clip again. So editing is non-destructive. Yeah, your footage is always there, no matter what you do to it in the timeline, it's always there. Next, playing. Obviously play we can use there, or we can hit spacebar on our keyboards, or we can use the JKL keys. J will go backwards, as you can see there, it's riding backwards. K will pause, L will go forwards. JKL are extremely useful when you do have audio, because when you hit J, the audio will still play backwards. And so it makes it a lot easier to edit. Let's say you've got a sneeze in there, you know, somebody's talking, they suddenly sneeze. Well, you know, you can navigate to the right point using J, K, and L and always hear the sound, whereas if you're using the scrub, you won't. We don't have any sound on this, so I can't actually demonstrate that for you. Okay, so that is basically it. We've learned how to create a new project, bring in files on the computer, import them in, have a look at them either in the viewer or in here, and we have also learnt how to manipulate our playhead with spacebar, JKL, or the play button, and we've learned as well how to use these markers to mark out places where we might want to make cuts. So this video's gone on long enough now. Stay tuned for the next one where we talk about how to actually start editing and making these look kind of nice. Okay, thanks. Crypto G out.